Oh my god.
Almost every single night.
It's like a huge ass butterfly flying towards us. Hello everybody. So we are currently in West Virginia and there are some updates we need to share. If you don't know, we own our own business. So Christian is a truck driver and we bought a truck together and we created our own business. So we basically make deliveries all over the country. And our truck has been out of commission for about 7 weeks. So we just thought it would be an interesting story, the reality of owning this kind of business. So Christian's gonna share what happened first.
All right, so we are picking up my truck because about 6 weeks ago, almost 7 weeks ago now, I was driving in Virginia, just north of the North Carolina border, heading up to 81, and I was going down a mountain, and as I was coming around a curve, a gear in my, what they call an idler gear, in the flywheel housing connected to the steering pump, the power steering pump, broke apart and it kind of exploded, and it caused my power steering pump to shut off.
So he had no steering.
Instantaneously.
Down a mountain.
So as I was coming out of the curve and starting to decline down the mountain, I completely lost all steering in my wheel, and I probably went maybe like anywhere between 300 and 500 feet before I was able to veer off the side of the highway and connect to the shoulder, because I don't know if you've ever lost steering in your car, but when your power steering fluid is low, it's really difficult to steer the wheel, but you still have a little bit of play. But in a tractor trailer, when your power steering pump itself stops working, it's much different. You can't steer the wheel at all. It doesn't have any play in it. You can't move it, especially when you're going that fast. So it took me quite a while to move the truck from the right side lane to the shoulder, and luckily I was able to stop because my brakes were relatively new. I thought that the power steering pump maybe had failed and it just happened while I was on the road. I had no idea what was going on. I thought it was just like, oh yeah, we'll go to the shop, see what's going on with the truck. And
so you had to get towed to West Virginia.
They had to tow me all the way to Princeton, West Virginia, which is about a 50-mile tow ride.
Did they say why they had to bring you to that one specific? That's the closest Volvo?
Yeah, it was, so the Princeton dealership, the reason I had to get towed to West Virginia was because that was the closest Volvo dealer. Okay. And I prefer to get all of my work done by Volvo because we pay for all of our repairs ourselves. Our warranty had just lapsed, so when you actually take your vehicle to a dealer and you get things replaced, it's warranted for either a certain amount of time for the parts itself or for at least a minimum of a year. So if anything happens to any of the parts that they replace, it's covered by them, and the work, the labor is also covered by them. So that was the closest place. So I had to call a wrecker, which are the big tow trucks with the booms that come and get you when you're like, you have a trailer and a big tractor. So we got to West Virginia and I was thinking to myself, all right, we'll just get this fixed. I'll stay in the hotel and then I'll get back on the road. But unfortunately, the gear that's connected to the power steering pump
exploded,
is connected to an entire line of gears that goes to your engine. And when that gear exploded, it sent shrapnel through that passageway all the way into the complete right side of my engine, all the pipes, all the filters, all the oil pan, the oil cooler.
So then tell them what they quoted us.
So because it sent metal shrapnel through the engine, the original quote to replace everything was like $22,000.
That we had to pay ourselves.
And our warranty had lapsed literally a month before this happened. So we were trying to figure out what we were gonna do.
We called our insurance and we were praying that the insurance would cover it, but unfortunately it's technically wear and tear on the truck, even though we do maintenance like every 90 days and there's just no way to see that this was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But technically it's wear and tear, so the insurance couldn't cover it. So it has to come out of our pocket.
Yeah, and there was a lot of, that 22,000 was it was a quote for like worst case scenario. So they go in, they say, all right, what's the worst case scenario on this if we have to replace everything?
Which was the 22,000.
And that was the $22,000 bill that we got. So for the next like 2 weeks, we dealt with insurance. And then we got a denial for our claim. So then we were like, all right, what do we do next?
So basically we didn't know what to do. We weren't working because our truck was in the shop. So we had the idea to lease a truck. So basically it's lease to own. So that was gonna be more expense, but at least we could work during the time our truck was down. So we rented a car, drove down to Jacksonville, Florida, because that's where the truck was.
Yeah.
We got to the shop and basically checked out the truck. There were a few issues with the truck and that was probably gonna take all weekend. So we were like, more waiting. So thank goodness that happened, because all of a sudden we got a call from the West Virginia shop and they said our truck was actually gonna take a lot less time than they had predicted and it was gonna be less expensive. So they said it was gonna be around $15,000 and less time. So we were like, well, there's no point to lease a truck. It's gonna be more expense when we can work possibly in 2 weeks, when they had first said it could take 3 months before the truck would be finished.
Right.
So we were in Jacksonville and we were like, okay, what are we gonna do? Like, our truck's gonna be done in like a week to 2 weeks. Well, we have family in Sarasota, which is about 3 hours away, 4 hours away?
3-4 hours.
3-4 hours away. So we called them and we're like, hey, what are you doing? And they were like, we're actually heading to Orlando for a little weekend trip. So we're like, well, we're in Jacksonville, can we meet you in Orlando? Which
is funny because like there were a lot of signs, like spiritual signs that were lining up.
A lot of synchronicities
along the way, a lot of synchronicities that were lining up and making sense of it all. And as soon as we got that call from the dealer, we were like, oh, okay, well, thank goodness
there were issues with the truck we were gonna lease, because otherwise we would have signed the paperwork and we would have been on our way.
Yeah, before we got that call, we would have signed the lease.
And then we'd be stuck with that.
And we'd be stuck with it. We got that call and we were like, okay, well, if we're not gonna lease this truck and we have a couple weeks to kill, how about we go surprise my brother and his fiance in Sarasota?
Yeah.
And that was my idea.
And I was like, no, we need to call them and give them a heads up that we're coming.
We were this close to surprising them. Like, cause I was trying really hard to convince her that we should surprise them, cause they're like, that would be like the highlight of their month and she's like, no, we can't do that. We have to give them
let them know that we're coming.
Yeah, we have to give them notice. So we decided to call them, and literally as we called them, they were like, oh, we're leaving for Orlando right now. And
we're like, halfway. Oh, so we were like, okay, can we come meet you? They're like, yes. So we spent the weekend in Orlando with them, which ended up being really, really fun.
It was so much fun.
And then basically we all went back to Sarasota and we stayed with them. And our truck was supposed to be done by a certain point. They were like, nope, it's gonna be done then. It's gonna be done then. And they kept pushing it more and more. So we were just like sitting there waiting, stressing out. We're like, now it's been like 5-6 weeks of not working and we have to pay $15,000.
Paying our bills
the whole time, not having an income. So it was stressing us out. So luckily the bank that we finance our truck through has this program where they will pay part of your maintenance and they'll just tack it on to what you owe on the truck. So they paid some of the bill, which helped us out a lot since we weren't getting paid and we had to pay our bills and all that. So basically they are sending a check to the shop to pay part of our bill.
And we waited
for so
long. Like we had this planned out probably a week or to a week and a half before we actually came to West Virginia, because we wanted to make sure that the paperwork was filled out, the check was on its way, that we were ready, and that the truck was ready, so that we didn't have downtime when we got here. We didn't really want to pay for a hotel when we got here. We wanted to just get in the truck and get back to work. because it made the most sense.
And the sun basically came out full force and it's hard to see, so don't mind that we're squinting. So basically Friday, we are driving up to West Virginia, and from Florida to West Virginia, and we were in about South Carolina, I think it's when that happened. Yeah. We were in South Carolina, and we get a call from the bank and they go, I'm so sorry, the check is on its way and it won't be there until Tuesday because of Memorial Day, and you have to sign the check as well. When before they said the shop can just sign it and we can take the truck and go as long as there's a tracking information on the check that it's coming. Now they're saying we have to sign the check and it won't be here until Tuesday since Monday is Memorial Day. Yeah. So we got there Friday. So we are here till Tuesday and had to get a hotel. So we have been out of work for 7 weeks. Have a huge bill we have to pay, and now we're stuck in West Virginia.
Which it's paid. It's paid.
It's paid, but
we have enough capital to keep going.
It's still stressing us out so bad.
It's stressful, but we are trying to make the most of it. So we got a hotel and we're waiting out until Tuesday, but we've done a bunch of nature walks. We've
gotten work done.
Gotten a bunch of work done, editing done.
But this is basically the reality of owning your own business, especially in the trucking business. This stuff can go wrong, and if you own your own truck, you have to pay the repairs, and we could have never seen this happening, and it's very rare for a job this big to happen. So
yeah, and honestly, we're very lucky that we were prepared to last as long as we did with the truck being down for over 6 weeks, because not even 3 months ago, in the end of December and January, we were down for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And
so that happened not too long ago, and now this happened. So it's like a lot of downtime, and it's our first year in business. So it's like, what the hell? So
the first time it wasn't that, the bill wasn't that large on the truck in January. It's just, it took a lot of downtime for the parts to come in. So after that, I got back on the road. I built up the reserves again, and then this happened, but we're super lucky that we were prepared and that we were able to structure a deal that kind of kept us going.
So don't mind the sun again. But basically, we just wanted to update you and share what was going on and share what can happen if you own a business in this field. So luckily, tomorrow is Tuesday. We are crossing our fingers that everything's gonna work out. We can take the truck tomorrow and just go.
Get right back to work.
And work as hard as we can, and yeah. But that's our little update on what has been going on. We are going to be a lot more active on YouTube and vlog a lot more and kind of show the behind the scenes of what it's like to live on the road, what it's like to own this kind of business.
How to be healthy on the road.
How to be healthy, that's a huge thing. We have totally mapped out how we're gonna eat healthier, because before we were eating like crap.
Yeah, we were eating like crap.
Horrible. So we'll show you behind the scenes of like what we're gonna do to stay healthy. And we are both mostly plant-based. Yeah. We will eat dairy sometimes, but we're trying to cut it out altogether. We want to be fully vegan. Yeah. So we'll show you what it's like to not only be healthy on the road, but how to be plant-based. So yeah. So
stay tuned.
Yeah.
Follow our journey. It has been super interesting, even just the past few months, and I guarantee you it's gonna get better.
Yeah. All right. But thank you for watching, and make sure you're subscribed to see more of our videos and more behind the scenes. But peace.